Due to recent YouTube updates, comments and likes have become more important than ever. I beg you to please consider doing exactly that. I read every comment that you write me and answer whenever possible and or need. I'm also open to suggestions for future content. My videos are created without the use of AI, so please support your fellow human content creator against clanker slop. Thank you.
I tried to get wine, my lady.
Uh-huh. You grumbled, suppressing an annoyed sigh. You took a wine glass from the tray you were holding and offered it to the finely dressed mannequin.
Thank you very much, servant.
You forced a nod, stepping away from the dining table. Things had been a little different in this adventure. Where usually there was a plot, this one, at least on the surface, did not. It was called The Fantastic Adventure of a Bunch of Maids in Some Mansion. The title was quite literally what was happening here. You and the other circus members were put in maid outfits, much to Zubal's and Jax's chagrin, though honestly he rocked that outfit really well. As Kane had explained, this was a long adventure. He didn't know how long himself. Claimed that this adventure was a low-stakes one, as he prepared a grand one for next time. But it had been too long. This was day 4. So far, all adventures you participated in never went over a 24-hour threshold. And being a maid to a bunch of mannequins who didn't even have mouths and just smashed their wine in their faces to drink it, it had really lost its appeal by now. As little appeal as it had. The mansion, meanwhile, was a reused, slightly modified asset from the Haunted Mansion adventure a couple weeks ago. It had all its scary stuff removed, including the monsters and the saw traps. Though still, it had the creepy vibe due to the low lighting, still intact. And there was the occasional leftover asset that was a little creepy, such as the very terrifying taxidermy animals strewn about, and, well, the angel head. At least its AI was turned off, causing it to just be there in the basement, hovering, not moving at all. The others dealt with the situation quite well. Pomni liked that it was a quiet adventure, and the fact Gummigoo was one of the NPCs that was housing here. She still tried getting through to him even after the dilemma at Spudsy's. Ragatha was completely immersed. She did her job with a smile, even claimed to like it, and even did nobility-appropriate servant girl jokes with them. Kinger, who somehow managed to look absolutely fabulous in a maid outfit, did silly little gags and one-man show stuff on a small stage, both to entertain the digitized humans as well as to participate in the adventure. Zubal and Gangle mostly kept to themselves, Gangle being the one to interact with the NPCs while Zubal tried to find the goal of this crap, as she put it. So all of you could leave. Finally there was Jax. He was losing it. Not in a I'm going to abstract sort of way, or at least that's what was your assessing, but more in a not this bleep again. As just like everyone else, he too was forced to be dressed in a frilly little maid outfit. On day 1, he completely destroyed multiple NPCs who called him lady and girl, or maid, or servant. Anyone really. He was that angry.
I'm done, servant,
Sputtered the mannequin as it offered you the empty glass again, the NPC's body drenched in digital wine. The glass clinked softly on the silver tray as you stepped away from the mannequin, the lord of the table. You swallowed the sigh building in your chest. 4 days of bowing, courtesing, polishing, pouring, serving a room full of hollow shapes who barely resemble people, The longer it went, the more it felt like some fever dream dressed in chandeliers and velvet curtains. Your arm ached from holding the tray, but as you turned to step away, another mannequin shifted stiffly in its chair. Its head creaked towards you, jaw cracking like a hinge.
Oh, the good stuff from the cellar.
The voice was gross, like every other mannequin's here. The glass slipped slightly in your grasp, and you steadied it quickly before nodding. Of course, sir. You had heard the phrase before, always the same. The good stuff from the cellar, which in reality just meant heading down into the musty stone basement, walking past that disgusting angel head, and grabbing the one bottle Kane had tagged with a floating exclamation mark. A fetch quest. Wearing noble clothes. Still better than pouring another round for faces that couldn't even drink properly. You slipped away from the dining hall, the heavy doors groaning shut behind you. The sudden quiet pressed down like a weight. The corridor stretched ahead, long and dim, lined with portraits whose painted eyes followed every movement. Literally. Their frames glimmered faintly under the wall lamps, which buzzed with that soft, failing electricity hum. Carpet gently cushioned your steps, though ever so often the wood beneath betrayed you with a low creak. A draft whistled somewhere through the old rafters, cold against your cheek. The whole mansion smelled faintly of dust and polish, an odd mix of neglect and upkeep. It wasn't haunting, of course. Kane had promised that this was not a horror adventure. But the echo of what once was still lingered in every corner. You adjusted your grip on the tray, glanced down the branching hall, and found the faint spiral staircase that led towards the cellar. That's when you heard it. A dry, steady sound, swish, 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 like feathers brushing across metal. You slowed, rounding the corner instead, carefully. And there he was, perched halfway up a little stepladder, ears drooping backwards. Jax, dragging a feather duster across the chestplate of a knight's armor. His maid uniform, lace, trim and all, sat awkwardly on his lanky frame. Frills bunching at his wrists as he swiped at the metal. His face was twisted in a grimace so theatrical it was almost comical. Yet the tension in his jaw betrayed something real. The armor hardly gleamed under his half-hearted effort. Dust puffed into the air with each swipe, clinging to the flickering lamplight. He muttered something under his breath, words too low to catch, the kind of bitter grumbling that carried more feeling than sense. The feather duster bent pitifully at the tip, flopping against the metal pauldron as if it too had given up. You paused at the end of the hall, tray balanced against your hip, watching him in that dim light. The cellar door waited just ahead, but for now the absurd sight of Jack's stepladder, frills, and feather duster blocked your path. "Evening," you said as you walked past him, but perhaps that had been a mistake. "Hey, Miss Errand Runner," he growled. "What do you have to do now?" You turned to look at him, tilting your head awkwardly, and smiled. "Get wine." Again? That's like the, 7th time you walked past me?" You shrugged. "They literally just throw the booze into their faces, Jax. Not much drink savoring to be done." Well, I need some distraction. Can I come with?" You looked him up and down, causing him to blush and place an arm around his heart-shaped hole on the dress's chest. "Stop staring," he growled. "You too. It's annoying." Everyone had been staring at it. It's just very obvious, Jax. His eyes narrowed to fine slits, so you quickly changed the subject. So, do you want entertainment or not? You quickly interjected. Yes, I'd very much like that. He stepped off the stool as you crossed your arms. You walked the rest of the hallway, down a flight of stairs into a less clean area of the mansion. There was even a very mild mist. It were the servants' quarters, and they had a direct access to the wine cellar.
Can't believe there's so in this,
muttered Jax.
At least looks good on you, Tish.
He barked, but you blushed, or at least felt heat rise in your face. Your digital body couldn't really blush. In the circus, you had become a store display mannequin. What elevated you from the box standard wooden NPCs was that you were made out of a sleek black material that, when touched, felt like rubber. You also had a lean, feminine figure, very much like those dress-up dolls in designer boutiques. Bonus points, you even had a mouth. You wore various wigs that appeared randomly in your room every day, and while not in adventures, with dress codes such as this one, you wore a rainbow patterned tank top with white shorts. You don't mean that, do you? You stuttered. In the real world, the human world, you had very low self-esteem, and you hated your face. And so the irony that in the circus you had a conventionally attractive body shape and a faceless head, that didn't go over your head. Literally. Hey. He leaned into you, bumping your shoulder, while placing his arm around your shoulders. Would I ever lie to you, Tish? That you think such lowly of me? He stretched out his other hand, grabbing the handle to the basement. Mentally, you prepared yourself to be kicked down the stairs, but he took the lead, walking down in front of you. The wine cellar was dark, but cleaner than the servants' quarters at least. Zubel had been tasked to clean it. She still hasn't done it once. The cellar greeted you with its cold breath, damp stone carrying the smell of dust and wood. Lanterns lined the walls, glowing faintly, the light flickering like they weren't sure if they wanted to stay lit. Shelves groaned under the weight of bottles, some wrapped in cobwebs, others leaning at odd angles like they'd been forgotten for decades. Jack stormed down the stairs, tugging at the laces trim of his maid dress like it might vanish if he pulled hard enough.
Unbelievable,
he muttered, his ears flopping with every step.
4 days of the circus and I'm still in frills.
If Kane thinks I'm anyone's maid, he's out of his polygon mind. You gave him a glance and grinned. I mean, you wear it well. He froze on the last step, ears shooting up.
Excuse me?
Don't act like you didn't hear me. You teased, letting your smile slip just enough to sting. The frills, the apron, the bow. You absolutely rock it. Jack sputtered, crossing his arms over the little heart-shaped cutout on his chest. Oh, very funny, Tish. Go ahead, laugh it up. Everyone else already has. Might as well pile on the humiliation. You tilted your head, pretending to study him. No, really. It's cute. His jaw dropped. Cute. He pointed at himself with both hands, nearly locking his ears into a lower ceiling. I'm not cute. I'm the menace of the circus. I'm a nightmare. Cute is what you call a plushie. I'm not a plushie. I'm not cute. You finished the sentence for him with a smirk. Got it. Totally not cute. Definitely terrifying. In your lace and bows. You purred and he groaned, dragging a hand down his face. Why did I come with you again? Entertainment. He muttered something under his breath about entertaining my tale, but he followed anyway, stomping dramatically as you screamed the racks for the glowing marker. Stomping dramatically as you scanned the racks for the glowing floating marker. And it didn't take long to find. Nestled between two dusty bottles, a single one pulsed faintly with a floating exclamation mark above the cork. There, you said, pointing. Jack leaned in, squinting. Oh, that's it? All the spins were just some wine? That's it. You plucked it from the shelf, the glow fading as soon as your fingers wrapped around the glass. Yeah, quest completed. Or... He slid in closer, grin curling at the edges. Quest upgraded. You narrowed your eyes. What are you planning? Why haul that thing back upstairs just for some mannequins so they can pretend to drink it? He tapped it. When we could test it ourselves. We can't, it's for them. Don't be like Pomney. They'll never notice. Half of them just splash on their faces anyway. Trust me, we'd be doing them a favor. You hesitated, bottle in hand. Jax, come on. His grin widened, daring you. Don't tell me you're actually playing by the rules. Your lips pressed together, then parted with a sigh. Fine. Atta girl! He whisked the bottle from your hands, popping the cord with a flourish. The soft pop echoed through the cellar, almost theatrically. He offered it to you with a dramatic bow. Ladies first. Or should I say, fellow maid. You shot him a look, but since you didn't have eyes, it didn't really have any effect. You took the bottle. The liquid inside was dark, promising, but the taste that hit your tongue was definitely not what you expected. Your eyes widened. Jax, this isn't wine. What? Don't tell me it's blood. He snatched it back, taking a gulp. He froze, then burst out laughing so loud the bottle rattled on the shelves. It's grape juice! Kane's been stringing us along for grape juice! You covered your mouth, then gave in to laughter too, shoulders shaking. The tension of the past days cracked apart, spilling out as helpless giggles. This is rich! Jax wheezed, wiping his eyes. He raised the bottle like a toast. Too fine vintage, year... yesterday. You snorted, taking another sip before passing it back. 4 days of serving mannequins juice. We're really living in hell, huh? Speak for yourself, he said between gulps. 4 days of serving mannequins for juice. We're really living in hell, aren't we, Jax? Speak for yourself, he said between gulps. I'm in a dress. And looking good in it. You shot back instantly. He sputtered again, ears twitching. Stop saying that. Make me. The silence that followed wasn't tense, it was charged. Warm in a way that made your stomach flutter. Jax lowered the bottle, leaning back against the shelves, grin curling in that infuriating way that always spelled trouble. You know, it's that voice dropping to a whisper. There are more things we can do down here. with no one around. Your pulse jumped. Jax? Relax, he teased, but the softness in his tone melted the edge. He reached out, brushing her hand as he passed the bottle back. His fingers lingered, light but sure. He held his gaze, the cellar's dim lanterns catching in his eyes. The smirk was still there, but underneath it was something more genuine, something that he didn't let out often. Then he leaned in, ears brushing your shoulder, his breath warm against your cheek. His kiss was tentative at first, testing the space between you. His lips pressed gently to yours, a touch that spoke more of closeness than bravado. You were surprised, but you sighed into it, and the bottle slipping from your hand to thud harmlessly against the floor. His hand found your waist, steadying you like the whole room had tilted. He deepened it, slow and unhurried, until laughter still clung to your lips, tangled with warmth and sweetness that tasted very much of grapes. And when he pulled back, he was smiling. Not sharp, not mocking, just soft. See? Isn't that something fun to do in the dark alone? You chuckled breathlessly, forehead pressing against his. Don't get used to it. Too late. Thumb brushing over your side as his ears twitched. The cellar around you was still dusty, still dim, still faintly absurd, but for once it felt less like a quest and more like a secret. A place where just the two of you could share in something. And suddenly, you didn't mind staying just a little longer down here. Hey, you reached the end of the video. That makes you part of an exclusive club. Our secret password is Cheap Thrills. Put the secret message in your comment below to tell fellow members you watched the video until the very end. Lastly, before I say goodbye, I would normally shout out my channel members. However, due to losing monetization, I currently do not have access to both channel memberships as well as a list of previous channel members. Nevertheless, I'm eternally grateful to the channel members I used to have, and in the case memberships get reinstated, I hope I'll see you again. Thank you for watching.